what were your assumptions about China, having lived in
Mm,
US, having lived in Korea?
I think that's a good question. I'll kind of start by rewinding a little bit because I will say that.
So, welcome to the mic, the Made in China podcast. This is Colin, your host, and also the producer of the podcast. Katreena, thank you so much for taking the time today for joining me, and let's talk China. First, can you just start by introducing yourself and saying, tell me about yourself, what brought you to China, and yeah, your life in the US before China?
Sure, yeah, thank you for having me. This is very exciting. So, coming to China was a pretty big decision, but it kind of fell in my lap, to be honest. Right before coming to China, I was in London. So I was getting my master's there, funding it myself, living in London, you know, during that time, what was it, 2022, 2023? It's still very expensive. So after being in London, I was like, I need financial uh, stability. So I got back on the teaching circuit. So prior to London, I was teaching and I taught in Korea and I taught in Chicago as well. So teaching was kind of my gig for the past like decade until and I taught art. So in Chicago, it was kindergarten to eighth grade. I saw 900 kids a week. It was very hectic, very crazy. Chicago public school, like, you know, the whole bit, right? Any type of like school, inner city school, like stereotype I've kind of seen, and it was very crazy.
Goodness, tell me about that. My goodness.
Yeah, it was a bit wild. You know, I grew up just outside of Chicago, and as soon as I turned 18, I moved to Chicago, and so that was a big step of like, wow, I was in a very small town, mostly white people, and then same demographics, but then you go to Chicago, and it's very like bustling,
Yeah,
diverse,
diversity. It's wild.
but also like you can see a lot of the like financial disparity,
Disparity. Yeah,
right? So you're like,
absolutely.
wow, this is very crazy. So I did a lot of investigation of just like, why is that? What is this? And anyways, I got into teaching because I just really enjoy the idea of like teaching, learning, and then you get to see people in neighborhoods and actually get to know children and their parents. And so yeah, I got into teaching.
So how far out of Chicago were you originally? So driving, like, were you 45 minutes out of the city? Were you 2 hours out of the city? I know Chicago gets rural real
Yeah,
quick. It's like
right.
30 minutes outside of Chicago can be
Yeah,
farmland.
yeah, yeah. So it was about maybe like an hour
Okay.
outside of Chicago. So very close, but
Yeah.
even still, like
Far enough.
far enough to be
Yeah.
like cornfields, and I'm sure you kind of know some of the area as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I had family who lived out there about an hour outside of Chicago to the west. And yeah, it
yeah,
was cornfields, more
yeah, 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 yeah,
suburban,
yeah.
like you described.
Yeah. So yeah, very different,
Yeah.
right? And so it intrigued me, and I wanted to just know more about that difference. Why is there a suburb? Why is it not as diverse? So and then you learn about a lot of the history of Chicago and how it was very like segregated and very a bit like the policies could be quite racist,
Yeah.
frankly, and where the money went. And then you start to understand, oh wow, this is why.
This is like this for a reason.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not just Chicago, right? This is
Yep.
you could argue the world is kind of like this, right?
Right. There's some history behind a lot of things.
All
Yeah.
these things. So, anyways, without getting too much into it, went into teaching, taught in Chicago public schools for 4 years, was completely burnt out. It was the most crazy experience. Learned so much. I think every week I would sit in my car and like just cry because you're just like, this is so overwhelming. This is crazy. But I think all those tools and all that management and the things that you see, it like creates this like you just learn a ton from it. It's life experience.
Yeah, and when you say the word crazy, like I use that word a lot too. And crazy can summarize a lot of big emotion.
Yeah.
So like break that word down, crazy. So you get home and you say, "Hey, this was a crazy day."
Yeah.
What do you really mean by that? Like,
Oh God, you have these like very young kids, right? They came from like various homes with their parents didn't have a lot of money. Their parents maybe weren't together, maybe uncles were coming, nieces were taken care of. Like, I think every year a kid passed away for like some reason or another. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Anything, I don't know how else to describe. Every day there'd be a new kid. It was also, what is it? Special needs. They call it something else now, but yeah, I think they still have that term, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure the proper word. And
I should
that's
know.
one of the hardest. And I think me and you can both agree, like we're the last two people that want to be, offensive to any group of people. So
yeah. So anyways,
give us the right word, guys out there. And
that'd be great.
yeah, we're trying to be respectful to that group.
But anyways, it was a school that had specialized classrooms for people like that. So every week there'd be a new student with a different need. And so I would have to learn, I saw all the kids. It wasn't just, every grade had a different special needs classroom, right? So like there was 8 grades, 8 different classrooms. Like I said, 900 kids a week. It was just a lot.
Yeah.
And now fast forward to, I can't do this anymore. I want to move out of this, see what I can do outside. I had a friend who came from the international teaching circuit. So there's like many avenues of ways to teach abroad. And she showed me, it's called Search Associates is what I got on. You do a profile, you put up your resume, do a little blog, like the whole bit telling you about what you do, and you sell yourself. And then different schools around the world, international schools, pick you up. And I had interviewed with many different schools, like in the Middle East, Dubai, Azerbaijan. Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
I didn't even know where that was.
Yeah.
So I was like, Azerbaijan. I was supposed to work there originally. Anyways, a school in South Korea contacted me, and I ended up working in teaching graphic design and sculpture in Korea for high school kids. So much different.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was just like
Total pivot.
180 or 360 or whatever the opposite of what I was doing. I was like, I want something totally different. And I feel like, at least for me, that's a constant like theme of like, okay, this is really not it. Let's do a huge 180 and see what can happen. And then I was teaching in a very wealthy private school for very privileged, I would say, Korean students. Not all. I mean, some of them probably took out back loans and they're probably in a lot of financial.
Right.
I'm not just
There's
saying.
2 ways to get in that expensive environment,
Yeah.
right?
And then that's where I learned like how just the difference between East and West, like mindset of like teaching and education in general. Because I would argue, even outside of private school, you have Asian thought of education is thought to be much higher than American education.
They take it so serious.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
can. And enter the
crazy.
room of Asian education.
Yes.
And I think it's a different,
Yeah.
They take it to a different level of seriousness, is my experience.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
As you jump to South Korea, was there any part of you that, I guess, why pivot into international and not go into the coziness of the United States? Why not go back to the suburbs? Why not go to the easy parts of the States? And I've met a lot of people overseas and international, and I have my theories about this, but I don't know. So I just ask, like, why do we all kind of chase something, I guess, in a way more fun, or is it still less comfortable but more exciting? I don't know the full answer. What do you think the reason is why you, because of course you could have. I mean, I'm assuming.
Of course. Yeah. That's such a great question because I think.
What do you think that reason is?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things. I think I'm always sort of trying to up the ante on myself. I don't know what that means, if that makes sense to you. Where it's like, if I would have gone back to the suburbs, any suburb, it would have been feeling like going backwards in time. I don't know. And, my friend who was just sort of painting this picture of like, it's, go abroad, and for me, I wanted to travel in general. I thought travel was so interesting. I didn't leave the United States or get my passport till I was maybe like 27. It was very late in life when I had the ability to travel. So I was like, well, if I could just live in another country? Well, boom, I already have my traveling. And anytime I step foot outside of my home, I've traveled, like,
Right.
So there was that exciting bit of, to challenge myself in a different way, to move beyond myself, or like to actually see, what is it like on the other side of the world? What is firsthand? What is this like? Instead of reading about it or watching the news or what, you can never really know until you experience it, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a genuine curiosity on top of,
I guess,
excitement and
And just getting sick of American politics in general in America. I was just getting a little fed up with just every day. It was getting a little too much. Let's get out of here and see what else there is in the world.
Yeah. You kind of felt like you knew what was there.
Yeah.
So you're like, there's got to be, something exciting.
Right.
Let's see what's out there.
What else is out there? Or is there something better than this? Which, you come to realize, I don't know if there's anything necessarily better. It's just different.
Different. Yeah.
That's what happened. It meant my experience.
Yeah. Exciting. So
yeah,
you're in Korea. You're at this, wealthy, this wealthier school doing this totally different education style. Now what's next?
Yeah. then, the first couple of months you have these like rose-colored glasses. It's so exciting. You're like getting into it. Wow, this is amazing. I'm going to stay here forever. It's going to be great. And then that starts to wear off, and then you realize the issues with the new place that you're in. Like now that you live there, you see, in the school that I was at, there was a lot of cheating, right? There was a lot of bribery. Like we weren't allowed to accept any type of gift at all, even if it was like stationary, because there's so much bribes that were happening there, because education is so like
competitive.
I felt for these kids too, even though they were quite privileged, most of them. They had the Chicago kids, they had a lot of like financial issue. These kids had a lot of like emotional like issues.
Finance wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
Whole nother problem.
Yeah. So it creates these other like very dark issues that you almost feel like, I don't know, there's nothing, you can't win type of thing. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know how to explain that. But,
that's cool that you just got to see the two extremes, right?
Exactly.
You saw someone who didn't have, financially was having hardship, but created a whole nother issue. And then,
right. So you have these worlds that you see, and then you think, oh, if you just have money, everything's better. It's not that, or if you just change your country or this country's better. I don't think that's true anymore. I think it's just, you have to like, you make your world what it is. And so I was getting quite sick of like, they would overwork us, of course, like we're there, like, just like I think working here in China, you get worked quite a bit. Yeah. Especially as an educator, because they ask so much of you. They pay you very well too. So you kind of, like I think we were talking about before, you sign up for this, So I was like, I don't know if I can do this teaching thing. It's starting to get like, it doesn't feel like the rewarding job that you might think it is. You know what I mean? It becomes a whole nother thing. So I was like, I got to get out of this. And I think I need to start focusing on maybe a different career, something new, exciting. And my background is art and design. So I really wanted to try my hand as like being a professional artist. What would that be like? Could I do that? I had a bachelor's degree. It was a double major in art and design with a minor in graphic design. And I was like, you know what? I think I could do something with this. Like I wanted to get my master's somewhere. So I threw out a bunch of applications, and I randomly found it was an art and science master's in London that I ended up going to, which was very exciting, very different.
Yeah.
But it checked the box of, okay, it's something totally different. Yep. It's in another country. I can get education along the way. So even if I don't completely love being an artist, I can always fall back on teaching, which that's what I'm doing now for other reasons. But I went to London, and that was a whole nother beast of living, where I was like, oh, this is going to be great. They all speak English, first of all. That's the one thing I was excited for, because, although I learned quite a bit of Korean, it's it's difficult, just like Chinese is even more difficult. Like I barely even know. I know way more Korean than I do Chinese, obviously, but yeah. So kind of moved into London, went there. It got very expensive.
Really?
Yeah, London is like, and it's such a beast of capitalism, like everyone, I don't know what it's like to live in New York, but I'm assuming it's kind of similar to this, where it's like eat or get eaten. Like you're out, like everyone's trying to, it's a hustle. It's a hustle out there. So that was the first time I was actually not amongst Americans for the first time. I worked at an American school in Korea, so you kind of felt like, oh,
You still kind of felt semi-American there.
yeah, I felt or at least like amongst Americans. I never thought of not. I don't know how to explain this either. It's very odd, where you have like. Anyways, when it was in London, I didn't realize how American I was until I was not away from it.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, or
I know exactly what you mean.
So it was just a bit odd, and I was going to a very like. I went to Central St. Martin's, which is like a very famous art school, I guess. And so meeting the people there, you realize that people just talk like everyone's just like out for their own thing. This sounds awful, but it is. I was just like,
No.
I went from being in, Chicago, which is a city, but it's also a Midwestern city. It's surrounded by like kind of like homey people.
Yeah.
They're very kind for the most part. I mean, you do have, your outliers and this and that. And then, Korea, where I was still in a teaching mode, right? So when you're around teachers, if teachers are heartless, that's like a little bit weird, right?
Right. That would be strange.
And then you go into then you meet artists and they're a little like self-absorbed and like, I don't know. I don't want to.
No, I mean,
bad talk.
Let's
these
not hate
people.
all the artists. But,
this is probably
and
not
I think
great.
U.S. is the same, where it's like the U.S. is set up that East Coast U.S. is different type of person than Midwest is different kind of person than West Coast.
Yeah.
And it depends on what kind of business you're in and what you're out doing in life, what kind of community you're around. I totally agree from being out and about. Totally.
Yeah. So you kind of get an idea of who people are based on where they are and what neighborhood or what.
Yeah.
Or it's very interesting. So then you kind of lose that tracking. You land in London and you're like, I don't know who this person is based on who that is. I just kind of felt like isolating and weird, and like how I guess it's more of like I didn't have context for anything.
Sure.
It felt like, and then that leads to disconnection, which was really weird because I was like, everyone here speaks English. Like I should be able to connect more.
Yeah.
But I felt like, I don't know, there wasn't a connection point.
And like I said, American
odd.
culture and then getting out of American culture, I think, is a pull away on its own.
Yeah.
It's a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
As far as one thing I wanted to ask was total time spent. You mentioned rose-colored glasses, and I think this is very helpful for the listener.
Yeah.
Is to understand like when those rose-colored glasses fade away, because traveling and then living are two different things.
Yes.
Like how long is the vacation? Then how long is the rose-colored glasses are still on, and then how long until those fade off, and then you're like, okay, this is how it is.
Yeah. That's
What do you put on those time frames?
I think it's when like the stuff like you take for granted that you can do, like paying your bills, or like just something so simple like trying to talk to a taxi driver or trying to get somewhere, like very simple things like on a day, like if you could have all those things go wrong and you just like, you have nothing to, you can't fix any of these things. And sometimes, in my instance, I was by myself, right? So I was in South Korea and in London, like just on my own, being like, I don't know, like how to fix this problem. Whereas if I was in the US, I know exactly what to do, when to do it, like who to call, like, oh, I can get to that tomorrow, no problem.
Yeah.
Whereas here you're like, that could potentially put me back a week.
Correct. Yeah. And those are my worst days in China.
Yeah.
It's like when I think that it almost like creeps into your head that this could be every day.
And
you're like,
sometimes it
suddenly
is.
like, yeah, exactly.
And that's very hard.
Yeah.
And so it starts piling on. I make this joke. It's like, every Wednesday I'll be crying over the sink, like because there's something like that dire that happens over and over again. It beats you down. It's very hard. And then until you like, I think after a month in, like you start to get tired for me. And then you like get over, I think it's about 6 months to, right?
I agree.
Don't you think? And then you're like, okay, you get a stride going.
Yep.
Then you're
you have
good.
your routine. You're kind of like, okay, now leave me alone. I got it going in this country.
Exactly. And then you're like, you get some more confidence, and then, you know, the year mark hits and you're like, it's all good.
Yep, I'm here.
Now it's like cry over the sink maybe every 2 months.
Yeah.
It's like
Totally different. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I have the exact same experience, and I would say I have the Chinese wife weapon, so that's my secret weapon over here. But still, there's there's that time where, like you said, everything goes to crap. You're trying to order food or trying to call the subway, and it's all not working. It's failing. You can't read the language. You're like, oh crap, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You simulate in your head. You're like, this frustration is going to last forever.
It feels that way.
And then I'm texting my wife, I'm leaving. You're just so frustrated.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then you reconcile and you're like, all right, I'm all right. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, you have to be like, today is done. We got to go to sleep. We wake up, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah, it's all going to be fine. But yeah, I think that was a perfect timeline that you put on. It takes about 6 months to settle in. And there's that frustration period from month 2 to month 6 where it's very frustrating.
Very hard. And you want to, like, even if you do have like someone helping you who's like a local, a significant other, or like anything like that, it actually doesn't matter because also you want to be independent.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like you don't want to rely on this other person to like help you with all this. You want to feel like, I can do this. You kind of feel like it's frustrating.
At times it makes it even worse because my wife will be standing next to me and it's like, you almost feel like you're being treated like a kid. It's like, I'm not a preschooler. Yeah. Why are you helping me do this? I should be able to do this myself. And then you almost want the help, but you don't want the help. And then you're conflicted. And then you guys can laugh at me at home. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So
no, that's great for people to understand. Like traveling, living, they're just two different.
Even if you travel for, 2 weeks at a time, I still think like, that's vacation.
Yeah. That's vacation mode.
You're not living there. You're not trying to rent a house, sign a lease, like do legal document stuff, like get a cell phone plan, like all that stuff is like, it seems so easy, is not. It's just a bummer. But.
Still go. I mean, definitely still travel for 2 weeks. I highly recommend vacation. Of course. Go travel, see it. 2 weeks. And this should be encouraging to everybody out there. It's like 2 weeks is a lot easier than staying for a long period of time. So travel, but
it's more fun.
Yeah. Know that if you stay for about 2 months, then it can get really frustrating. And then if you're planning to stay a year, just stick it out.
You could do it.
Yeah, you can do it. Be frustrated like us. Just shoot us a text.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. So total time spent how long did you spend total in South Korea? And then how long did you spend total in the UK? And then where did you head next?
Yeah. So I was in South Korea for 4 years. So a pretty significant amount of time. And then 2 years in London. And then now I'm in China for, I'm coming up on 2 years in July. So like a year and a half, a little bit more.
And I'm writing this down because in case I already asked you it, because
That's okay.
Come on, guys, I'm not the brightest guy, so I apologize if I asked her that twice. And I'm gonna ask you like another question that so many people might have is, you're traveling a lot as a single woman.
Yeah.
And I know South Side of Chicago probably prepared you for
a little bit, right?
But you just mentioned 8 years there.
Yeah.
When was that a problem and when was that no big deal?
Yeah, I think like that's such a good thing to talk about because I think like growing up in America, you're told as a woman like you could be strong and you can be independent and you can do all these things, and then when you leave that sort of comfort of American like gusto and like feminism, and like there's such a great history with all that there that so many people before us like built that for women. And when you leave and live in another country, and I would even say I guess South Korea was like very difficult in that mindset. Like I had to actually ask my friend's husband to like talk to people because they wouldn't listen to me as a woman in certain situations.
Wow.
Like,
business or personal or both?
More like business stuff. Just like, you're calling to, I don't even know what it was like. And
sorry, I said that like, okay, that's like okay. That's okay. Like, no, it's not okay to just ignore someone in business, whether personal, but I was curious if it mattered.
Yeah. It's just a very male dominated country, male, like, I don't know how to explain this either. It's until you like live there, and there's a lot of like very dark history with that as well, and how even feminism is like a dirty word in Korea. Like when you bring it up because like teaching in Chicago, they're like, yeah, feminism, blah blah. You teach it, and like you're a teacher, and it's very like a liberal, like what would you say, profession, right? Where you teach about these things. But in Korea, you were told you cannot, you don't bring that up. If you do, you're going to get ridiculed. Like they're going to be talking behind your back, and like they just don't believe in it. That's not totally true either, and entirely of the whole country. Yeah. Of course, I can't. This is a blanket statement, and just from what I've observed and was told when I was teaching there. So that being said, I was also on Jeju Island, which was a very rural, like not in the city even. We were in the like rural sticks of, I guess, the suburb, not even a suburb, like the farmlands of Korea. So you have very conservative people. Like you could argue that Koreans are quite conservative in general, you know. So that layered on top of it, it caused a lot of issues, and it caused me to be like, wow, even though, you know, we can all talk crap about America, this and that, and people get upset about things that are happening there, we at least have some of these basic things that I don't think other countries do.
Right. We're far ahead in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's like,
you know, so yeah, traveling around as a woman, you know, I think I went from having like lots of confidence to that slowly chipping away, which is like really sad, because then you're like, wow, I feel like how I was maybe 8-10 years ago, I feel like now I'm like, I'm not half as like righteous as I used to be. Is that age probably has something to do with that. As you get older, you just get tired. Like maybe that's, but also like you get.
Hey, I look way older than you, so you can't be saying that. All right, we got to keep our energy up.
You know, but yeah, when you're younger, you're all excited and you can do more, of course. Yeah. And as you get older, you're like, I don't care about that anymore. But also like I've been in a lot of situations in Korea and actually here feeling like the pressure of being a woman and working in a male dominated like society. I don't know. Y'all can push back on me if you want.
No. I think this is like great because it's your real experience, right? Who cares if anybody wants to chip in with their real experience? Let them out.
I love to hear it though. Yeah, actually.
This is real experience. This is not, hey, this is what I think it's like. This is somebody who lived here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Katreena, I want to hear what it's actually like when you walk into a workplace. I don't give a crap what anybody says in the comments.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you go into work and you can compare and contrast Korea and China, that would be extremely helpful. Like what did you feel in Korea versus in China, and how was it similar? How was it different?
Yeah. As far as just working?
Yeah, the workplace in general, the hours, the coworkers, the environment.
Yeah. I
know the job was probably slightly different, so it's kind of hard to just
I guess like for the job, let's see, how was it a little different? I don't know.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot like to do comparisons, because it's tough. I mean, we can speed past and go directly to, let's speed into daily life in China.
Yeah. That'd be good. I'm sure we'll come to more comparisons later.
Yeah. When you get out of Korea, then you're in the UK, then it's time to come to China. You get the job offer in China, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What were your assumptions about China, having lived in US, having lived in Korea, having lived in the UK, and then which of those assumptions played out and which of them did not so much play out?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I'll kind of start by rewinding a little bit, because I will say that initially when I went into international teaching, I was like, you know what, China, I'm not sure if I'm interested. That was the one country, and maybe like the Middle East, right, for other reasons. Yeah. Now after like living in Asia and traveling and like opening up my mind a bit more, I was like, yeah, China, what's the problem? What do we like? I had no.
And why do you think it was off your list entirely? Because I don't know how much you know me, but I was like so anti-China. before I first came to China, I was like, I don't want anything to do with China. You know, it's just, I had my reasons, but I'm curious as to what were yours, because they weren't any like serious reason. It was just what.
I don't think I had any really serious reasons either, which is, I think, really interesting to look back on.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think it was just sort of like maybe it's the news, like the way
generally just
the way they paint China is like everything is made in China. It's like a smog town, like it's filled with cheap plastic. Like these are generalizations that people make about China that just aren't true at all. You know, they almost paint it to be like, you know, they're buddies with North Korea, like they're, you know what I mean?
China is North Korea on the news.
Yeah. And it's not at all, you know, like, so I think like before living outside the US, you think these things, right? Or I did. And you have these ideas about what things are until you actually see them firsthand and you experience them a bit more. And then I think after living in Korea, it was just sort of like living in Korea was like a buffer of like opening me up to like all these other countries, of being like, oh, you know, what could be so bad? Like I've had to have layovers in China a lot, in Shanghai or like other places. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like LED screens from like top to bottom. Like
this is kind of nice.
Like, yeah, I'm just more curious than anything after a while. 'Cause you're like, why is this so bad? Like, you know, it's like, yeah. So just these little touches on like, oh, it can't be what everyone says it is. Or if it is, well, why are so many people working there? Why are there so many jobs there? Like the market for international teaching is like crazy here. Like so many jobs open up every year, like everywhere in China, not just like the main cities. So you're like, if so many foreigners are coming here, then what's the big deal?
Yeah.
You know,
it clearly can't be that bad.
It can't be that bad. So
makes sense.
After London, like I said, like it was just very expensive to live there. It was, you know, I paid everything out of pocket, and I was like, I need to get back to where I was. And also the great thing about China is they pay very well. You can get paid very well to work here.
Yeah.
So I go, all right, well, if anything, I go see what it's like. You can do anything for a 2-year contract, I think.
Yep.
You could tooth and nail it. If I've done these other things by myself, I can do this. So I went, and it's not even half as bad. I think the worst thing is like the language barrier is so hard, but you have all these tools for that now that they didn't like maybe 5 years ago. They had, but not as frequently used. I don't know.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was away from the mic there. That makes sense. Okay. That makes sense. So your key assumption, I think, was very similar to a lot of what I've heard. What my assumption was, which China equals bad. Then I actually explored China a little bit. China equals okay. Like, right away, I was like, there's nothing that necessarily bad about China.
Right.
It seems pretty normal to me. And then I explore it more, and I actually enjoy my time here. I have a wife here and a kid here. So.
Yeah.
All right. So specifically on your China opportunity, a lot of people want to know, like, how do you get a China opportunity? What in the world? Like, how do you even get the opportunity? And then from there, what's the specific journey like? Did you just pack up one day, all your stuff from the UK on a plane, take it all over here? And I mean, was that 2 check bags? What did that look like? You know, to move your life over here. And then you said a 2-year contract, but how long do you plan on staying? And like, what's that life change look like?
Yeah. That's great. So getting the opportunity. So there's an online site that I've used for a couple, stints abroad, which is Search Associates. So like I said, you upload, if you're a teacher and you have credentials, and this is a pathway for that. And so I had just happened upon, like, there was a Search Associates job fair in London specifically. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll go. I was actually supposed to work. I don't know. I called my boss. Hey, do you mind if I just stop by this place? I don't know. So I stop in, and I ended up getting quite a few interviews with, places in Poland and France and in Europe. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. they don't pay very well either, although it would be cool to live there. But China, so when you see these countries, European countries, there's like maybe like, I don't know, 5 to 10 jobs maybe related to my field, if that, because it's art. It's much less than other fields. And then China, you'll have like double that. So there's always like there's always an opportunity in China, and it's usually on everyone's bottom of their list for some reason. Anyways, when you log into the site, they show your stuff, and then people can ask you for interviews, or other schools. So this was a school that asked me for an interview. Went and had the interview. The people were very nice. It sounded like it's an interesting job because it's not a normal teaching
Did they speak
job.
English on the interview, like good English on the interview and all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a school that's actually based in Hong Kong, and they do like a year program here with their year 9 students.
Okay.
Because, China's absorbed Hong Kong, and so all the wealthy people in Hong Kong are freaking out because they're like, well, what am I going to do? We don't know anything about China. Anyways, it's my job to like help them explore China, which I think is kind of crazy because I'm not Chinese, I'm Western. Anyways, that's a whole nother podcast. But it's a cool job. It's very interesting. It's not a normal classroom job. So I said, they were very interested in me. I guess I interviewed pretty well, and they offered me the job the very next day.
Okay.
And then I take it. And then the director from the school reaches out. They have like an HR. Luckily with Search Associates, there's many schools that help you. They give you like a, what's it called? A moving allowance. So they'll give
like they send you a private jet, or like, I'm just messing.
I wish. No, they just give you, I think I got like,
enough to move.
a couple $1,000 to like move some stuff, box it up, send it to China. So I boxed up what I thought I needed. I don't know, clothes, art supplies. I don't know. And then you have to you land here. They put me up in a hotel for 2 weeks. During that time, they referred me to someone who spoke English to help me find an apartment.
Okay.
The school helped me sent me someone to help with a cell phone, like stuff like this. Like, so I'm very privileged in this manner because they come and they help you. I don't think this is everyone's story when they come abroad.
Everyone's confused about like the apartment thing. Like I got a lot of people that reach out and they're like, how do I find an apartment in this? And I pretty much, from what I've heard, and again, I got the Chinese wife card, so I don't know, but I've heard a lot of the employers put you in touch with an agent who then, so how was that house hunting or apartment hunting experience? Like, did you go see multiple? Did you actually see them in person? Did they show you pictures? How did you do that?
It was, luckily the person they sent me was really good. They had a car. They came, picked me up. They showed me around. Like, it was very
So you had a chauffeur.
luxe.
They came out. They
so
gave you something to drink. They're like, hey, would you like to look at this today or this today?
I know, very, very nice. And you pay them, of course. It's worth all the money that you pay them. Just pay them. They'll send pictures, videos. And I'm sure it could be similar in other cities, but depending on your employer, right? But your employer should help you with those things. And I mean, if they're not, then that's not, I don't know if it's a really good situation.
Yeah, not legit.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Right?
And I've kind of recommended that everybody, if you're looking to come to China to stay in a hotel or stay in a short term for a minute first. Find a serious place that you want to live in.
Yes.
Don't try to find an apartment from overseas and then come over like looking to plop down, because it's very difficult to find a place remotely, I feel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's plenty of apartments in China.
Right.
Are you underneath the same, not like there's ghost cities, but my point is there's plenty of available units to look at.
Yes.
You can look at 5 units in the city and pick which one you want.
Exactly. I mean, in Hangzhou specifically, like just so many. When I went apartment hunting, just actually this past month, it was super easy. There was realtor, whatever they're called. They showed me about 8 properties.
Okay. Yeah.
Before that, they just sent pictures. What one do you want to see? Of like 10, so it's like, oh, it's quite easy. And I think, here it's like, I'm not sure how it is in other cities, but like it's super streamlined. They just want to get it done, And from when you're like, okay, I want this apartment, it'll be like a day to sign the contract, deposit, boom, 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 and you're in.
Okay. And nothing crazy as far as like on the deposit. And I'm just asking for like, not too personal specifics, but in the I believe in the U.S., like you pay a deposit for 1 month's rent or whatever the case may be. Here, I think you pay quarterly? Is that how it works or something?
Yeah.
How does it work?
I know. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Luckily, right now I got into an apartment that's monthly payments,
okay.
but before that, it was you would have to pay every 3 months, or like you said, every quarter.
So yeah, pay attention to
kind
that,
of a
guys. If
bummer.
you're getting an apartment, just pay attention to what your term is. Sometimes it's.
Yeah.
I think we rented a house when we were remodeling this house, and it was quarterly or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, you're not necessarily going to be paying monthly, and I'm not sure if that's like across the board or if they just do that to foreigners. I've heard a lot of people say that it's just foreigners.
Probably just me.
Just you, actually.
They
You
probably
have to.
found me there like this Colin guy.
You got to pay a year up front.
Charge him 1 year.
Exactly.
No, but this is great information. I think for people who are looking to come over here.
Yeah.
You're hoping to get Katreena's situation where you live short term. I think your situation was brilliant. You know, two weeks in an apartment and then a realtor comes, takes you around. You find a final apartment that you're going to live in.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this same job to people? Would you recommend it in the pros and cons? I know you mentioned it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So now the money question in terms, not financially, but the money question in terms of would you really recommend this? So if somebody called you and they're your friend.
Like an international teaching job.
Yeah.
Well,
your specific job. If somebody called you and said, yeah, would you recommend me come and work your job?
Okay. That's maybe a loaded question a bit. Well, I don't know, because it really depends, right? So you would have to really know your stuff with education, with assessment, with teaching, learning, classroom management, all these things. Like if you feel like, oh yeah, I feel pretty good about that. And then, cause you have, I think one of the hardest parts about the job that I do is just sort of this assessment of the kids, because the parents want to know, okay, where is my kid? How do we make my kid better? You know, it's like all this pressure on the kids, right? To perform. Are you ready to like really it's not just like a fun job where you show up and you're like, oh, we're going to teach and learn about art. Like I have to assess your skills. I have to tell you sometimes that you're just not that good at this and you need to like do more. You need to like, giving feedback to the kids in a way that helps them grow. And so it's not an easy job. And then I also have to take them out into the world and chaperone them around the city and try to like create learning experiences for them in China as a Westerner, which is a very strange thing to do. I mean,
this is very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very odd situation, and it's not I wouldn't say it's a normal international school, which is why I like it, because it's always every day is a bit different. There's nothing like the schedule is super bonkers. Like I think I was saying, sometimes I'm there until like 10 p.m. on a weekend. Like that's crazy. That's not a normal schedule. Even I think for China, so it's, do I recommend it to everyone? Not necessarily. I think you just have to you have to be like really interested in education, and then you really have to be interested in like difficult conversations, I guess. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and then also like the ability to like go beyond the classroom, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, go outside of.
You have such an interesting job.
It's a very weird job.
That's
yeah. When I try to explain it to people, I'm like, how do I explain that I'm like a boarding like teacher, an art teacher, but also like a tour guide, but also like, I don't know.
And that's what I'm trying to catch up with. So
yeah,
we'll take a short break, guys, and then we'll come right back. We're going to grab some water, take a break, and we're going to break down Katreena's whole job. You know how the whole day goes for these students, because it's quite an experience. Be right back. All right, guys, we are back with Katreena, and we are going to talk about this wild school day that she has. And she is not an English teacher, which is a very different approach, because you're going to hear from a lot of English teachers on this podcast, but very few art teachers. So Katreena, take us through a day in the life as an art teacher with field trips, with all the other things you do.
Yeah, so this is good. I'm going back to school on a Sunday, actually. We have a full 8-hour day on, which is not normal.
You get paid overtime for Sunday?
No. I should.
What's the deal with that?
I know. They like to break up our weekends. I don't know why they do this. Honestly, I think part of it is too, like as international teachers, we have time off and we travel, and they just want to make sure that we're back in China before the kids come.
Make sure you make it back.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like residue from COVID or what, like, because I'm sure that caused a lot of issues. But anyway, so I have to go back on Sunday. I'll have a whole day of like professional development of some useful and some not useful information.
Just make sure you're there.
Make sure I'm there.
Check your pulse.
Yeah, and we'll be planning for this whole very big trip that will happen in the springtime. It's called Beyond. So the kids are basically, they do a self-motivated project on whatever they want. It just has to be located in China. We have to take a speed train there, no flying. So these are the rules. And wherever they go, we experience it for a week. And then they like collect information. They come back to the school and they create a project and a presentation of that, which is very interesting, right?
Yeah, so, it seems very free and flexible. And
yes, and again, this is not a normal job. I think this is a very unique situation where they created it this way because they wanted the students to learn a lot about China. They wanted them to get out, like, and probably erase the stigma that's like happening, right? That everyone in Western culture seems to have about China. So it's like getting in deep and dirty with like Chinese culture in some way, create a project. Some students made like a cookbook based on like a region. We had students who did like a mini film series, a podcast series, like these like little interesting things, right? And we're trying to teach them like self management of time, like passion projects. What does that mean? So that's what we'll be revving up when I get back to school. We have to like kind of help and plan and roll this out for the students and be like, here's what we've done in the past. What are you thinking? We got to get them thinking about that. And so Monday, the kids will be back. And they're back from Hong Kong. So it's 100% boarding. So they stay on campus. There's some teachers that live with them specifically, which I don't do. I live off campus. And I'll probably go there maybe around 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, and then leave around 6 p.m. I have like 2 classes a day, a couple of meetings. And what else do I do? I don't know. I'm like trying to remember what I have to do on Monday.
I was going to ask how old the kids were, but I think you just answered it in terms of the boarding situation. You said 9s, but you meant is 9th grade?
9th grade.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I heard 9. I was like 9 years old or 9th grade, but
that would have been a disaster.
Yeah, I was like 9 years old or not doing this. Okay. And then the trains, the bullet train situation, there's kids going in all directions. They're not all going to the same destination. So.
Correct. There'll be 6 different main groups.
Okay.
And then within that, there'll be like mini groups, and I'll be in charge of like 12 students, maybe something like this. But we'll all kind of within that 6 group. We'll be going to 6 different places in China.
So of your 12, 6 different destinations. Something like that.
Of the whole school.
Okay.
Well,
6
we divvy them up 6 different locations, and then of those 6 locations, we like divvied them up amongst teachers.
Wow. Okay, so a spider web of China.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very complicated, and
no, that's great though.
But it's cool. Again, like I said, it's a weird job, very odd, but I like it because it's not normal. So
it seems very exciting. That's and then you mentioned it has to be bullet train versus planes. Any reason for that specifically?
Sustainability.
Okay.
So there's this like obviously a push for more sustainable like practices in education in general. So, and also I'm sure the stigma of like China being so wasteful, which China can be, right? Of course.
Got a lot of people too.
I think
they got
the whole world is wasteful if we really think about
it.
But it's not. I think they are trying to do things to become more sustainable.
Right.
So, yeah.
And have you been on trains and planes here in China? And like, what's your take between the two forms? Just for somebody who's like never been on a Chinese airline, never been on a Chinese train, what's the experience like? And then what's that compared to like a U.S. plane?
Yeah. I mean, the planes are pretty similar. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree.
There's nothing too much. But I will say this: any sort of airline outside of Europe and the U.S. are much better.
They board super fast. That's the
Board
difference
faster.
I see.
You always get fed more. I think they're much nicer. You usually get, pretty good with drinks and I think it's usually a little bit of a notch better than an American and European airlines are trying to squeeze all the money out of you.
That's how I feel. Yeah, you always get fed on the Chinese airlines, even if you're going 2 hours. And I thought it was so funny. On one flight I had in China, the flight attendant started bringing out the food before we even took off.
Oh,
because
really?
they just figured, screw it. It's like, you guys are all sitting down. You're already boarded. We haven't moved. You want to eat.
Yeah.
Let's do the meal service. Boom. They had all the food handed out.
They're pretty quick.
Yeah,
it's
so
good.
you're already eating, and that just made the whole flight, I think, enjoyable. So
yeah.
Anyway, that was my Chinese airline.
There's definitely a little bit of a difference there. And then as far as trains, the bullet trains are where it's at. Yeah, it's so good. It's so it's clean. It's pretty smooth ride. It's very quick.
The space you get, you can't beat it.
More space. You pay a little bit extra, you can get a little bit more space, and it's not that much extra that you think. It's so nice, I think. Very comfortable. And they have food on there. You can walk around. Yeah, it's nice.
Do you typically book which class do you typically book? See, are you the bougie kind? What kind of bougie are you? No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
My wife didn't even tell me there's a different class. She only lets me get economy or standing. I'm just
okay. Standing one. Yeah, one time I was gonna book a train to.
When they're full, you have to.
You have to book standing,
option,
and I was trying to get a train to Xiamen, which is 6 hours
6
on
hours
the
south,
train,
right? Yep.
And all they had was standing. I was like, no, we're not doing that. I think for a long trip like that, it'd be nice. I usually get first, and then there's business is the best, right? Where you get the little pods.
Whole lay down pod thing.
It's very nice, and it's not that much more expensive. But usually, if it's just Shanghai, which is an hour, I'll just get actually the regular because it's not bad.
That's how I.
And it's so quick.
Yeah.
When it's $10, $12 USD. But if you want to. 30 USD?
You want to be a little bougie, $30 US. It's not going to hurt you.
And you want to get comfortable. You get, there's less people and you get bigger chair. And then even more bougier. What is it? $40, $50? You get your own pod. It's crazy. It's very nice though.
Yeah, it's very, very marginal difference to get a huge upgrade if that's what you're into. But I do take the economy one quite a bit, and it doesn't bother me because I either sleep or, like you said, it's so quick to Shanghai. By the time you're on there, you're off there.
Basically, it's so quick. It's not even an hour. It's nice. So.
Yeah, I think that's helpful for people who have never experienced a bullet train. The first thing you do in China is hop on a bullet train.
If they could just do that in the U.S. and it would make such a difference, But I think there's a lot of things stopping it, oil companies and all this, right? They don't want that, so they're already tanking as it is. But, anyways, not to get too political.
So many barriers there, and I think that's everybody's. Not regardless of politics, it's everybody's wish. If you've ever been on one of these trains, it's we would be so much better in the U.S. if we had one of these things.
I absolutely
connect any two cities, and people would your mind would be blown if you could go from New York to Chicago on a bullet train.
Right, exactly. And they have a train, and I've gone on it. What is the Amtrak? It's not good, but
or a Greyhound bus. You don't want to be doing that.
Megabus.
Yeah, it's just kind of and European trains are ahead of Amtrak, but it's still
not that much better actually.
No. Yeah,
not
that's what I was gonna say. It's not. We were in Europe and we looked at the train ticket. And it's so slow. You want to fly.
They delay, and then they're always on strike.
Talk about that. They never delay in China. If your train is at is at 8 o'clock in the morning, you can get to the train station at what time would you say? I'm curious as to what time you would get there.
You could probably get there about if you really wanted to cut it quick, 15 minutes before.
I was going to say 15 minutes, and my wife would say that I'm cutting it too close.
I
do that every time.
But you could. It's reasonable.
Minutes. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you're going to board 5-10 minutes beforehand.
It's so, And security is nothing. It takes not even 5 minutes. I would say 3.
Yeah, security, you just put your bag through a little X-ray machine. It's not like TSA is going to strip search you.
It's so much nice, which I like better than being on the plane, right? Because then you're going through all the security and put all your stuff in a bag. You got to check the bag, carousel.
The train security is a joke compared to airport security. So you can fly right on the train.
It's so much more convenient for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the European trains are not much better than the U.S. ones, even though there are more of them. And I went to Paris one time. I flew, and the Paris Airlines went on strike. So there was canceled airline.
You're stuck.
I was stuck, and then I had to like get a train. All the trains were almost booked out because the planes were all.
Right.
It was so crazy. And then I took a train to Belgium because I have a friend in Belgium, and the train, I was on it, delayed for 2 hours on the train in the middle of the trip. And they were like, oh, we may or may not get to London. I was like, what do you mean you may or may not get to London? Like, what is this? Like, it was crazy. And they're very expensive too. Eurostar, I think it was. Yeah.
You bring up a very good point. Like, me and my wife lived in Europe in 2024. So we traveled, we bounced those cities, been to Belgium, been to Paris, been to a few. We did flights a lot because we drove down to Belgium from Amsterdam, but whatever. Talking about the cities in Europe, compare some of the cities in Europe to the cities in China. What do you think are I know I do a lot of compare, but that just puts a frame of reference to people in terms of, I think Europe is and I'll let you, what's your comparison?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, Asia's just cleaner in general. I would say like Japan, Korea, China, although, it's cleaner. Like their public transportation is always super clean. You never feel like there's never like anyone doing drugs necessarily.
Right.
You'll see homeless people here and there, but it's not like Europe where there's people like you're kind of like, oh, I don't know, this guy is not looking good. Like, and then what, you want to call the police? Well, the police do nothing there about it, like. So you feel a bit uneasy. I feel uneasy there, right? Like, and
same
for your
it's
stuff,
the same in the United States.
Your stuff wouldn't might get stolen. They say like if you're gonna fall asleep on a train, you better be hugging your bag because someone's gonna take it. Like, and that's the same like with your phone. I had a friend who was just using it, and someone ripped it out of her hand. Snatch. I was like, what? That would not happen here. I mean, I did lose a phone here once, but. I mean,
did you get it back?
I didn't,
Whoa.
but I know, which is kind of like unheard of, but there was reasons because it was on full silent. Like I couldn't call it. It ran out of batteries. And
what did you do?
I know, well,
so you're the first person I've met in China that's lost the phone and hasn't got it back. So you went full silent, no battery, so it's totally dead.
It was totally dead. I didn't realize I didn't have it until the next day because did it have a U.S. number on it or a Chinese number? It was a Chinese number.
Okay.
I think I left it in the bathroom of the bar I was at. So
at the bar.
I was having some beverages.
Okay. So this may or may not have been down the toilet. No, Who knows where this phone was?
I honestly have no idea. We went on a wild goose chase the next day because, I was staying at my boyfriend's house, so I didn't get the DD. I don't remember even half the night, so it wasn't good. But that's how bad it has to be. Like your phone has to be on super silent. It has to be out of battery,
so
and you have to be.
Stolen.
It wasn't stolen. Okay. No, I left it.
But it also wasn't recovered.
No,
which is surprising.
It is surprising, but it would have if there were batteries, if I could call it. If I don't know. Anyways,
it takes a lot in China to not have your phone.
Exactly. Well, you need your phone for everything too. Yeah. So like I've heard many stories of people riding on those, the bikes here, and that just falls out of their pocket, and then someone chases down and gives them their phone. Like that would never happen. Normally
being on the street, I walk around a lot. I love to walk around China and just see, because that's how I do my TikTok a lot. I just answer questions walking around. Hey guys, this is what I think. This is what I think about this, whatever. And I see a lot out there. And a lot of times, anything happens, people are like so quick to try to help someone, try to give them their stuff back, or say, hey, you dropped this, or whatever it is. Even if it's just a hair tie, even if it's the smallest thing, they really go out of their way to just say, hey, I don't want to inconvenience you. Hey, I don't want to, you to lose this. So that is kind of surprising about China, but no, that's cool that you lost your phone and never recovered
I didn't. I lost my phone.
You win that award. And then switching to more of your lifestyle in China. I do know that you're more of an introvert. You're more of the homebody.
Yeah.
And that is like the contrast with the way I live in China. So I have tons of questions.
Okay.
Like you do a lot of, and my hesitancy is like I struggle with using the Chinese apps to like order food and do all of that. So I end up going out and trying to speak broken Chinese and order stuff on the street and navigate that way. how do you do your grocery shopping? How do you do your food ordering? How do you live your life day to day? Like, how do you get your stuff done?
Yeah. I mean, what's like super great is when WeChat finally had a translation function because on WeChat you can have all these mini programs, right? So like all the delivery apps and most any place will have a mini app, and you have it on WeChat. You go in there, it translates everything in English. So like if I want something delivered, I do, what's that little yellow rabbit?
Meituan? Meituan? Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a mini program.
Okay.
I just click on that. Press the translate button. All the things come up. So I go, boop, 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 boop. Like, it's all good. It gets delivered to the house. Or if it doesn't have a mini program, screenshots.
So interesting.
Screenshot and translate.
So my mind's already blown. You don't use Alipay that often. You use WeChat more.
I use Alipay when I go to a restaurant and you scan the thing.
Okay.
The
code to pay.
And
if you have to.
Yeah, I use it for that. Sometimes for DD, sure. But I usually use like AMAP for traveling. It's a bit cheaper. And it's all in English too. So, all the apps, they're pretty much can be translated.
Okay, so your core apps, like if you had to give someone a toolkit to download before they came to China.
WeChat.
Get WeChat, okay, and get the mini apps.
Yeah, anything that you want to buy, or like, the delivery mini program.
So get that yellow rabbit, get the Meituan.
Get that one.
Okay.
Make sure you have your address.
Get your address in there.
Make sure it's in Chinese.
What did you do to get your address in there? You just like whoever's living at your house, you're like, hey, just put my address in here for me.
I actually.
like I'm talking like at your building, like just Chinese person random.
I took a picture of it on my contract. So your contract will have your address, and you can screenshot your contract and then translate it, or like mine is not, most of them are digitized now. So I just copy. Oh, I could see this is 202. That looks like that might be my address. Oh yeah. Okay. It's copy paste. So it's a lot of like,
and if it shows up the first time, you're good.
Yeah. Assuming.
You'll know.
Actually, you do have to do a test.
Yeah.
So do something very cheap the first time, and when you're not hungry, because it might mess up. But once it's in there, and you're like, it's magic. Yeah, I'm sure you know. But yeah, that's the main.
So Meituan on the WeChat, and then what's the next app, or what's the next?
Well, you got to know how to get around. So AMAP, I like AMAP because it's all in English, and there's an English version. So you can do, the metro will come up. If you want to get a ride somewhere, it'll come up. Like if you drop a pin from WeChat, you can open it up in AMAP to get a ride or find where you're going.
See, it's funny. I'm looking at you like that because I never had a good workflow on this stuff, and my wife does a lot of it. So I'm very lazy. I'm like a kindergartner in China. I'm like, hey, Cindy, will you do this? And then she does that. And I don't have a good workflow for it. So you're actually saying somebody sends you an address in WeChat, and then you go to AMAP, you open it up, and you're able to take a DD from AMAP?
Yeah.
Directly?
Yeah. Or like when they send you a pin, there's options on the bottom. It says get a ride. Press that, and it'll give you options to get a ride.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very convenient because that's the hardest thing, right? Getting around and then making sure you get like your delivery stuff, right? I think that's the main.
And what percentage of the time do you take the DD taxi, and what percentage of the time do you take the subway, and how do you make that determination?
Yeah. Like I actually prefer the metro. I think it's more convenient. Sometimes here I feel like the taxi drivers are just like, it's like stop, go. I get very car sick. Okay. So and I've heard that from other people, so I know it's not.
Yeah, the taxi drivers here, they're a little GTA in real life.
Yeah, exactly. GTA.
They're getting it done.
And I think if it's quicker, I'll take. It's like half and half now, I think. Yeah.
When you say metro, so you're talking about only subway, or you're talking about subway and bus?
I never take a bus.
You never? Have you ever taken one?
Not here.
Okay.
I think in general, I just avoid buses no matter where I'm at.
Okay.
I think they're just. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's funny. I did the same. I've taken. We have one spot we go to eat vegetables, and we'll take a bus from there back. Don't ask me why. It's just like our random Saturday thing. We'll go to the temple, eat vegetable food at the buffet. We don't actually go in the temple. We just go there for the restaurant, and then we take this bus back. And it's been like my bus route thing, and it's actually a pretty clean, like a super clean bus. Yeah. Nobody's ever on it, and it's just hilarious that we take the city bus. But,
actually, when I go on these trips with the kids, we're always on the bus So that's a little different.
And is that a school bus or a city bus? You actually
City
just take
bus.
the city bus.
Yeah, which
Interesting.
is a little crazy because it gets hectic. You know, you have a group of maybe 6 to 12 kids, and you're trying to get them all on. Try to get them all off.
Yeah. And they kind of drive similar to the taxi driver. They're not any less aggressive, in my opinion. Than
Yeah.
Maybe a little less aggressive than the taxi drivers.
Yeah, but I think the metro is just so convenient and sometimes quicker because traffic gets really bad, especially if you're going downtown.
Yeah.
It's such a mess.
Yeah,
So
completely agree.
it's convenient, but also the taxis are good too. Pretty cheap, pretty clean for the most part. You know, you can get them very quickly, you know, within 2 minutes, you know. It's nice.
And what about shopping? Like when you're at home, what apps do you use for shopping? And then what all stuff do you generally need? Like if you needed a widget, you know, just a random item, do you online shop for that? Do you go out and shop for that?
Taobao.
Taobao all the time. Yeah.
All day, every day. That if I ever leave China, it would be like I'd have to throw a funeral for Taobao because it's so amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's just like you don't have access. You like think about Amazon on steroids. Like this is the delivery game is like, and the options are just endless. You just take a photo of something. There's 20 options of that same photo in 20 different colors from like 100 different vendors. It's crazy.
And what do you think price and quality? Like people would say, oh, everything made in China is cheap. Like how cheap is it versus what you're paying for? Like price, quality, comparison. What do you think?
I think that's like a huge eye opener too. I think the quality is quite good. Of course, you're going to have like some crappy, like whatever, something. But in my experience, I think like 90% of the time, you can get a very good, high quality product of whatever it is you're looking for very low cost. It's really nice. Like when I first came here, I was like, oh, it's just going to be a bunch of, like I said, it's like plastic and pollution, the two P's of China. But I'm not.
Here to get polluted plastic from Taobao. It's going to fall apart in 2 days.
Yeah. But it
turns out
it's good. So Taobao is like huge on, they have every category: electronics, clothing, shoes, like household goods, appliances, right? Anything you can imagine, I think, is on there. And then you can even get groceries on there. I get a lot of like foreign products, like things that I can't get here on Taobao, because there's always these like international shops on there. It's very nice, you know. So anything you want to get, you can get.
So how has your eating changed from country to country? Like, is there anything you miss about any of these other countries? Like going South Korea, UK, back here, even US?
Well, the UK, nobody misses that food.
Shout out to the UK.
Just kidding. They have good they have good chicken shops. In South Korea, I had to learn how to cook a lot because I was in such a rural area, and like I really didn't have access to the types of foods. Like when I moved to China, I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, am I gonna be able to get all this stuff? And turns out I can get everything I could ever imagine. You have to pay maybe a bit more, and probably more than you think. But in South Korea, it was a bit different. So I learned how to cook a lot. I was just like, if I want mac and cheese, like Velveeta shells and cheese, I gotta learn how to make it. And I gotta find like that cheese sauce. How do I make that cheese sauce? Like these are the things you have to think about. Like stadium cheese, like has become more meaningful to me than I ever thought it would.
And mac and cheese is one of the hard. Mac and cheese you're not gonna find in China. That's the one.
Cheese is not a big deal here, right?
Yep.
So like stuff like that, but eating habits, like I think I've gone more back to like American eating living in China because you just have access to everything. Everything is here. It's kind of cool. you know? So yeah.
So anything that you miss, like anything, and this doesn't have to be just food, but any product, anything that you think in China that you wake up one day and you're like, hey, I wish I could get this, but I can't.
I don't know. I guess, what do I miss? Maybe like a Whole Foods, but you can still get that stuff here. Like, you know, like the Whole Foods experience, like a Trader Joe's, like that. I think about that sometimes.
Yeah.
But even then, I think even though I probably can't get specific items from there, maybe I could. I haven't even looked. What if I looked? I bet you if I looked up Trader Joe's, there's someone in the U.S. who's sending it via Taobao and making a bunch of money. Hey, any listeners out there, you want a job?
Send
Trader
to Trader
Joe's.
Joe's right on
I
over
think
here.
people would be like really interested in that.
And it's almost like you're looking for the exact like
The brand.
the branded
Yeah.
items from Trader
Exactly,
Joe's. You're like,
which-
this stuff I used to buy from Trader Joe's, I want that exact
Yeah.
stuff in China.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I think there's probably shops that exist. I just haven't looked.
It's so funny that we say that because I haven't either, and it's just like that's kind of how China is, though. There's
Without a doubt, I'm like, someone's doing that.
Yeah.
And they are making good money doing that. Someone is, which I love.
if they're not, they're going to be in the next
Yeah, exactly.
near future. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's mostly daily life, and I'm trying to think about any other questions I wanted to ask related to daily life getting around. So when you're talking about, let's get back to your app setup.
Oh yeah.
And also your general workflow. So we talked through kind of how you order a cab, you order food. What other apps should someone definitely have on their phone and a part of your daily workflow or your daily life that you always use to get around China?
Actually, I was using, so you need a translate of some sort, I think.
What's your go-to translation? Because you mentioned screenshots, and so you screenshot everything on the phone, and then what do you use?
I use Google Translate now. They've updated it quite a bit, and it's very helpful. I was using Papago, which is actually a Korean translate, but it was getting all buggy. But anyways, the Google Translate's quite good. You could do screenshots, you could do audio, and then like voice to text. You could take pictures in real time, and it'll translate. So you need a translation app. I have Taobao. I probably am on there too much. I've got, what is the Hippo Mart?
Yeah.
It's that
Hippo is like kind of like Whole Foods, honestly. Of China.
Yeah,
it's
actually.
kind of getting up there to be like their Whole Foods.
It's pretty good. So I have that. So I probably order from there at least once, probably twice a week. It's just like fresh groceries to your door within 30 minutes, which I love.
Yeah.
I love, like today, right before I came here, I was like, ooh, do I have time for an order? Okay, let's do it. It's raining. Maybe it'll take 5 more minutes. I don't know.
And did it? How did the rain affect?
For this today, it was fine.
Okay. Because some days the rain does.
It does. It'll affect, like with taxis, especially.
Yep.
Like you won't be able to find one. It's really difficult because I think people who usually use an e-scooter would be like, oh, I'll taxi. And then, so it's like this overflow of people who are like, oh, I don't want to go to the metro. I'm going to take a taxi. So I think they get like overworked on rainy days. So I've learned that the hard way a couple times.
I totally feel that.
Yeah.
I felt that this morning. I left an hour late to do an errand because of the taxis.
Yeah.
I was like, let me wait till 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So
After rush hour.
Yep.
Yeah. So what other apps do I have? I think those are the mains. I don't know if I'm missing any, but
So that makes sense. And then with the delivery fees, and so being a homebody, ordering all this stuff, people in the United States might think, oh my goodness, you must have all these delivery fees, you must have all these add-on fees, you must have all these tips, you must have all this, XYZ add-ons. Any of that? How much more is the order if you go and buy it versus if you deliver it?
Like 25 cents. Like it's crazy. It's not like a crazy fee. Like I think everywhere else in the world, it's like $5 USD plus, like depending on what you're looking at or how much it is or how heavy it is. Like it's so cheap. Like at first when I moved here, I was like, you get anxiety because you're like, oh, it's going to be so expensive. No, it's not. And sometimes it's free if you spend X amount of money,
Right.
So, yeah.
But I found it to be so marginal. You don't even,
It's not even,
don't even think about it.
Yeah. It's not going to break the bank at all, which is nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Again, it will be very sad once I move.
Have you seen that? Every once in a while I'll order and I'll see that thing at the bottom. It's like, be careful not to over order or whatever else. Have you seen that tag?
Oh, on the thing? Oh, yeah, because then they have to you would have to get charged a certain amount because
they were saying
the e-bike people can't.
Yeah, people. I don't know what it was for, but it was one day I saw that little note and I was just like, that's hilarious. I don't know what it was about. And it could be a translation thing too. I can never.
The translation, yeah.
How do you handle that? Like a lot of times stuff does not translate directly. And you mentioned that one app you were using kind of got janky.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? It's like sometimes you translate something and you're like, that cannot be what that really means.
Exactly. Yeah.
What would your advice be to people?
A couple things, like maybe you zoom into just that part, because sometimes when you have other text around it, it influences it in some way. So you're like for example, I was trying to translate my my washing machine, because it's a washer dryer machine, and so you're like, okay, it wasn't drying all the way. How do I like make it hotter or longer? Like so,
Yeah.
and all the little text is really close together. So when you translate it, it's like, you know, the big boar is on the sleepy pathway, and you're like, what? That makes no sense. That has nothing to do with clothes. Like, so then I had to like screenshot it and then crop it like section for section, which is a pain in the butt. But you know, you do these things when you live abroad, and that's a perfect example of like one simple thing that should only take a minute or two turns into a day. You're like, why?
And that makes really good sense for somebody who's, again, if you're trying to make sense of Chinese, sometimes if you link the characters together, it makes no sense as a sentence.
Yeah.
And then if you split it up, the one word by itself means something totally different. Okay.
So, yeah.
What other stories do you have like that, where you're out in China and you're doing something, or you're at home doing something and you're like, wow, I fumbled through that at first, but then it made sense in the end.
Yeah.
I think you would have some good stories after being here in 2
know.
years in China.
Nothing particular comes to mind. I think like when you're first setting up the delivery apps and you're like trying to figure out where your apartment is exactly, or what your address is exactly, because there's so many things around you that could be your address. So there's a pin option, right? So you do the pin, and then you're like, okay, you do the pin, and then 20 addresses.
Yeah, and everything's so tall.
And you're like,
yeah.
So there's 20 options where this, you know, my Indian food is going to be coming to, you know? And you're like, sometimes you shoot it in the dark. Sometimes you have to do translation by like, so then when you're like, oh, I just wanted to order McDonald's to be delivered because I want to be gross and eat my burger. And
That's
you're
me
like,
too sometimes.
I know, I love it.
Yeah.
So, but you're like, that took 2 hours. When I probably could have walked there and gotten it in 25 minutes, but I was being lazy and that late. Yeah, anyways, so it's many things like that. I can't think of many things off the top of my head, but it's just such little tiny things that drive you insane.
Yeah, and what
slowly.
It's true. And then what's your experience like making friends in other countries like this? So it's like meeting other people and seeing other foreigners versus seeing other locals. Like meeting friends is a whole nother thing, because it's just
that's such a good like thing to talk about, I think, as an expat in general, especially.
I know, like for me, I'm out here waving like a kid when I see somebody who's foreign. I'm like, hey, you look strange too. It's like, hell. Like, hey.
Well, you're so extroverted. I could imagine you just do that.
And then you're the kind of person that immediately looks at the ground and you're
I'd be like,
do not say anything to me, bro. I'm trying to go home.
But you know, I think there's like something to like being more extrovert in general, because like, you know, connecting with people, like nobody really does that in real life anymore necessarily. It's always like online or something like this. I mean, I think the easiest place to make friends is at work when you first start, right? And then you like start to learn about, there's all these little places that foreigners hang out at, like, you know, different, you know, bars or restaurants. Like there's always like a foreigner spot.
Blue Frog and Grill or something. Yeah, that's the one everybody knows here.
Elementary. Like, you know, so that as you like start to like live here and get around, you start, you know, there's different things that pop up, and there's like bars that have like different nights for like, I think there was one at Shares or something where there was like Irish night, you know, like try these different whiskeys. I don't know, which I'm not very interested in, but you know, people, but I'll go because I know there'll be foreigners there that I could talk to. And, you know, so as you live your time here and go to different places, these people pop up. And then it's funny when you're in China, I think in Hangzhou too, where it's like, you see someone, you're like, oh, foreigner. Like,
yeah.
It's like having what is it when you have a certain car, you like do a little thing.
Yeah, like a Jeep or something like that. Or
everyone has a little language.
It's like,
it feels like that.
It
like
does.
When you're
it
here.
does. That's a great way of putting it. We do like a foreigner
what's up,
wink.
Jeep?
Yeah. And you can spot them from a long way away.
You can, because he looks very different.
The walk is different.
You almost sound like you can hear someone. I heard someone talking. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Foreigner. foreigner somewhere.
You're in the elevator. They're like, a few steps outside of the elevator. You can hear them coming.
And they're thinking the same thing. So you're almost like, hey, what's up? So I think you could do that. I don't really do that, obviously, but I think I'm like, well, what's the big deal? You should just say hi anyways, I'm probably going to find through these like circuits of foreigners, you're probably going to see this person potentially, because it becomes a small world of foreigners once you start getting to know people.
Sure. Yeah. So. And which country do you see or do you interact with from the most? And I'm not trying to profile people, but do you see more, which
outgoing
country?
People, you mean? Or?
Even like from what I see a lot of Russians as of recently. Like, have you seen a lot from one specific country as far as foreigners go?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's a lot of Russians, for sure. I've come across quite a few like Americans, people from the UK. I'm kind of like thinking about my job too. Like, there's different Russians. Who else? There was an Irish guy that I met. I don't know. But
and it's cool because I think you do see a lot of people from a lot of different places
here. Yeah, I think it's really a lot of people are attracted to. I think Hangzhou is a very interesting city, and there are a lot of foreigners from different places. Specifically, where else? I don't know. But.
And how would you compare it from your time in Shanghai? Like when you go to Shanghai, how many foreigners here compared to Shanghai?
I think Shanghai, there's more, right?
Yeah, I agree. Tons more. I feel like I get off the train in Shanghai. I'm like, I'm in foreigner city.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Exactly.
Here's all my buddies. What have you guys all been up to? I'm like, where you been? Yeah, where you been?
Exactly. It does feel like that. And there's all these like, bigger like foreigner areas where you go down, which like the French Quarter or something near that area. And they're everywhere, and then I'm like, oh, it's not as surprising to be there, but I still feel surprised, but I'm like, oh, but I'm in Shanghai. It's very different.
It just can feel weird when you're in a place without, like you said, in the UK.
Yeah.
Once you lose your people who are very similar to you, when they're not around you for a long period of time, you start to kind of feel as though you're lonely.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And then it feels a little weird.
It does.
I don't know. And then you see a group that's like you and you're like, oh my goodness,
You're all excited.
They're back.
Whereas like if you're at home, you're like, this is not exciting.
Yeah, you're just like, you would never feel that way. Yeah, exactly. You're back. So funny.
It's good.
So with almost 2 years in China, I guess what are some things that you really love about China, and then what are some things that you're like, I really don't like this about China? What are those kind of contrast it?
Yeah. I mean, there's the convenience of China. Everything is so convenient and everything is set up that way. Like from your transportation to your like eating to your, if you want to find an activity of some sort, it's convenient. You can get around easily. I mean, the hardest part about living abroad in general is just being away from friends and family. Like, like the people that you really like grew up with and were around and like that connection, and the longer you're away from them, like unfortunately, like the relationship gets like less and less. Not to say that it'll ever erase, but I'm just saying it's harder.
Right, yeah, there's a naturalness to it that's further and further away.
So I guess that like that's not specific to China, but that's just specific to being an expat. But China, it's the language barrier. Like I think like the taxi drivers, like sometimes they're so excited. Oh, where are you from? They're speaking. And I'm like, oh, they're genuinely very nice and they want to connect. And you kind of just like have this like, oh, I just feel bad.
Yeah.
I want to, I would, even though I am an introvert, I still like connecting with people one-on-one. I think it's great. And, so that I'm like, not so great. And I guess the work ethic here is like very like tough. Like Chinese people work hard, like harder than I think maybe any demographic that I've seen so far. And it's just like, and that sort of rubs into like your time. So you're like, oh man, I'm expected to work this hard. Like people in the West they also work very hard. Don't get me wrong, but it's like different. I don't know what, like you're allowed to have certain things like to be yours and separate from work. And I think sometimes work and life bleed into each other here. And I think we just came we were just done with the Chinese New Year, right? Which was like, I think what they had about 2 weeks off.
2 weeks off, yeah, give or take.
They'll go back to work and they'll be like on for 16 days in a row, something like that,
Right,
to
right.
make up the time.
Yeah, they'll like swing some weekends. And
that's what I
it's
mean.
Very different, yeah.
So like we'll have holidays, and not very many holidays in the U.S. But if we do, we don't have to make up the time. We just have it, you know. So I think that really harsh work ethic is there's scary.
There's a different approach in some ways
Yeah.
on how they do things.
So I'm not keen on that, but yeah, there's a lot of other great things though about China that's like amazing.
And have you ever considered? And I'm not. Have you ever considered switching your job here?
To
just another teaching job? Have you looked and considered like, hey, I'm gonna jump ship, or not so much? Is that a possibility? And have you met other expats who have done it? That's just
like
jump schools.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it
Yeah.
for sure. I just think the job I have is just really unique, and I really like it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's
I'm never gonna find something
That's
like
what it
this
sounds
again. But also it's tough, and I dream of having a regular schedule. Sometimes, like, even though it's like technically a 9 to 5, it's a very sporadic job. Like sometimes I don't have to be at work until like noon on a Thursday, but I'll have to stay till like 10 p.m. on a Saturday. You know what I mean? So like I kind of like that flexibility. Anyways,
pros and cons.
yeah. But to jump ship and then go to like
A normal 9 to 5
a
would be-
normal school, I don't know if I want to do that. If I were going to jump ship, it would be to jump ship and like start a business or something, or like totally do another 180.
Now that would be right. There's another podcast episode. As soon as you start it, we're running it back when you start your China business.
Yeah, right. Who
Because,
knows?
yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity here, not just for teaching. So I think that's really
And that's one thing that's so
Important to
incredible
know.
is that you took a totally different route than most people. Is like you went
Yeah.
for the art route, where a lot of people went for the English teacher route, and then you've done the thing where it's like, okay, I've been to Korea, I've been to UK,
Yeah.
seen a lot of different, scenery. Took a totally different approach, and yeah, wow,
Yeah,
it's
who
not a
knows?
normal school day that you're pulling.
not a normal school day. Yeah, I think that's my life. Not a normal school day.
So, do you think you'll be in China long term? What's your 5-year plan?
Yeah, I think at least I just signed on for another 2 years.
Okay.
So I'm at least 2 more years. And then it's sort of like 2 more years here. Maybe I sign on for another 2, or I kind of look and see around. Maybe Thailand sounds very exciting. I don't know, or like Vietnam. I don't know how I'll be feeling then, but let's see where the wind takes you and how this school is and what pans out, or what business idea I come up with. I don't know.
So what was I know you mentioned at the beginning, you were like, originally when you chose China, when you accepted the offer, you were like, 2 years, I can stick it out.
Yeah.
I can make this work if I have
Exactly.
to.
Yeah.
Can tooth and nail it. And now you're taking another 2 years on. What pushed you over the edge to say, yeah, I'll do 2 years, another 2 years, so to speak? Like what?
I just think like living in China in general is, once you get over that 6-month hump of, wow, this is very difficult, things fall into place a bit easier. And once you get to know more people and you start to like create a base, of friends, people you like to talk to, like the way you kind of have your life, you're kind of like, oh, I can stay for a little bit longer. It's interesting enough. For me, I like living in different places because I just like learning. So every day you're going to learn here. You're about to learn, So, I mean, I tend to enjoy that. And then it's not as hard as going to another country. It will be very different. I think that's what keeps me from maybe going to. It's like, oh, that will be hard. It's going to be hard again. Do you want to do that?
That's interesting that you say both those things, right? It's like leaving would be an entirely new challenge, but there's still a lot to see in China, where it's
Yeah.
like China is a vast
so-
deal. A lot of
yeah.
people do say that. It's like they stick around because there's still a lot to see, a lot to do.
Yeah.
And I know you're an introvert, I'm an extrovert, so I'll let you go after this one, but I do want to understand one last kind of
Sure.
premise is, how many places have you been in China, and can you kind of point to some of those places and take us through where you've traveled in China, so people have an understanding
yeah.
of where you've been in China and what your experiences are around, like outside of Hangzhou.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned Shanghai, but have you been to any other cities?
Shanghai, I've been to, there's a city near Xiamen. We didn't quite make it to Xiamen. It was on a school trip. I don't remember.
And that's a
the
warm
name.
weather city down there, right? It's very hot.
Yeah. So, and it was very beautiful, a bit rural. So that was nice to go visit. I've been to Beijing. Beijing is very interesting, very different from Shanghai.
Did you see the Great Wall?
Yeah. So every year we bring the kids there. So
Okay.
we have to go.
You have to go to
I
the
have to. Oh, I know.
All right. Poor Katreena. She's got to go to the Great Wall.
Every
All right.
year I go.
Poor Katreena.
But it's,
All right,
it's
guys.
beautiful. You've been, right?
I've been once, yeah.
Yeah.
I have been once.
So
I don't have to go every year, but
yeah, I know. So where else have I been? I really haven't traveled too far out. And then of course I forget the names of the cities and I can't pronounce them. But there's a couple more. There's one just north of here that's just past Shanghai. Is that Guangzhou? Anyways,
Guangzhou, and this is our. I think we both share the same thing with this. So like we can't pronounce any of the cities. And guys, when you always, it's hard both ways. So like if you say the name of the city, we can't spell it based on the name.
No.
And if you spell the name of the city, we can't say it based on the spelling, and we don't know what that means.
And the X's are not pronounced X. Yeah.
Shaman is an X.
Yeah.
I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not going to say it.
I know. I thought I was like, oh, it's like a shaman. Like it's going to guide me through some tour. No, it's XIAM or something. So it's a struggle every day.
Very true. And that's why traveling China, like I've been a lot of cities, but I have a really hard time explaining where I've been and what it's like.
Exactly.
If you didn't have to, names aside of the places, of the experiences that you've had outside of the city, is it worth it for someone who's traveling into China to see different cities or to spend all of their time in one city? What do you think north, because you've been, Beijing is significantly north, Xiamen, something significantly south.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the middle. What do you think about?
I think if you have the time to see the different cities, I think it's worth it because then you'll see, wow, it's like China is not, it's so vast and so different, and it's very high tech and then very low tech at the same time. You have a village, and then you also have like crazy lit up buildings that are like, it's a concrete jungle. I guess it's also what you want to do. Like, do you want to get a deep dive in one city? But if you do that, just know like the surrounding cities are much different. It's just like, I think everywhere else in the world, but China has like, it has everything, right? It's like mountains, river, ocean, and it has a lot of landscape and a lot of history and a lot of different types of people. So it's,
And how long would you recommend, and this is you talking directly to the listeners, like how long would you recommend, John who's listening at home, how long would you have him plan his trip for?
Oh man.
1 week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks?
I mean, at least
2 years.
At least at least 2 weeks, right?
Okay,
if you really want to like get into it. You could do some cool things in a week probably, but the jet lag, you're going to be hurting for like 2 days maybe, depending on how much it affects you. 2 weeks is solid. If you could do it longer, do it longer. If not, then I think that would be good.
Makes sense. And then any pointers that you'd give, again, Mary, the listener at home, she's thinking like, anything I should know before I, book my flight and make the trip over here, like any pointers you would make, like, hey, just so you know, when you land, this is the things that I would think about that I wouldn't have known the first time I got to China.
Well, you got to have a Chinese phone number. Right?
I think so. It's eSIM or something.
Yeah, eSIM. Make sure it's a Chinese number. It's hard to do that though because they do block eSIMs, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's another thing you should break down. It's like weird.
It's always changing.
Yeah.
So be sure to
really do your research on the eSIM, and that's number one, I think, because if you don't have a phone number, you can't do anything. You can't get a car. You can't get food. You need a QR code. Like you need your phone for everything, and that's attached to a phone number, and it has to be Chinese, right? I think.
See, that's where I'm 50-50.
Right.
Like when my parents came, I didn't have them get a U.S. phone number, but they had their U.S. phone number, not a Chinese, but they were with me the whole time. So I was able to help them through a lot of that stuff. So it depends on how much you're going, like how advanced of a traveler you are, how much you're going rogue versus how much you have someone here helping you. If you're coming by yourself for the first time, I think you definitely need a Chinese number.
Yeah.
And I think
that +86.
yeah, because you can't even join public Wi-Fi without it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You need it to join Starbucks
And
Wi-Fi.
you need it just to get SMS. Like they do SMS for everything here, the text. So I think number one, do your super research on eSIM. Although, my sister, she came and visited and she was able to get like a roaming through her plan that covered China. And when she was here, it was fine. So I guess
that's
it
my
was
parents
all
did. So
good.
they did like their Verizon
Yeah.
roaming plan, and they had enough data plus using Wi-Fi and my hotspot and whatever else. And
so
depends on what kind of, are you chilling or are you?
Are you doing Shanghai, Beijing? Or are you getting wild?
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Because anything outside of Shanghai and Beijing, I mean, Hangzhou is pretty user friendly, I think, for the most part. But Shanghai is like super user friendly.
Yeah, I think some of the bigger, like more touristy friendly cities are far easier than others.
Because a lot of people speak English there, and it's not a big deal. But get used to using Translate, like not just download it, like play with it, because
great point.
When you're in the spot and you're like you can freeze up and you're like don't know what to do, and then before you know it, something passed you by where you're like, wait, I didn't want that to happen. Like I can't think of an example, but I think you know what I mean. Where you're like,
no, I think. Practice at home before you come is a great point. Put it on your home screen where you know the app is. Test it on some Chinese paper that you have at home. Test using it quickly.
Just to
I
be
think
like,
that's a really
okay,
practical, good point.
like I can like do this on the fly, and I can, because you'll be, for example, if you're in line to get food, and someone's like,
pressure's on.
and the pressure's on, and you're fumbling with your like translate, and you're just like, I just want my caramel macchiato, like, even if it's a Starbucks, you still have to figure out how to translate that. So and everyone's like behind you, like, well, let's go, like, and of course, like in China, like everyone's like right next to you too. Like there's no personal space. So like it's even extra, like you're sweating. Yeah. You're like trying to just get an Americano. Like
Or my mom's trying to order a blonde. It's like, they're like, what is that? Like what?
They don't know.
I think you're trying to order a person.
They're like, there's a Russian girl over there. I don't know.
Oh, it was wild. That's great.
Yeah. So
great advice. And so guys, Katreena, thank you so much for stopping by. I think
pleasure.
that was, I mean, you answered so many questions and offered so much insight to China. So thanks so much. And guys, hopefully this shows you a side of China you wouldn't otherwise see or hear. Cheers.
Thank you.
See you guys.